And so it is, beloved masters, dearly beloved, amazing, divine, creative, interdependent masters. In the game of illusion, in the teaching of separation, you have been indoctrinated throughout lifetimes that in many instances it is an us against them game. And it's been so enforced, it has been so taught, especially by the churches, by tribal councils, and in more sophisticated times by governments, that we must be very careful of them, whoever they are. And it is, beloved masters, to really understand separation was about a divisiveness, and love is about integration. And the more that you feel the love, live the love, experience the love from the inside, because love is not an intellectual process, the more you begin to understand without a question. It isn't something you have to sit and think about, and certainly, beloved masters, it isn't something that you really have to make an intellectual decision about. Feel the blending. It doesn't matter what they are doing. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter how they act. You're one with them. So it isn't about deciding who is appropriate to interact with. I'll be interdependent with these, but I will not have anything to do with those. And it is, masters, interdependence is a non-intellectual, non-judgmental involvement with other masters. They're all masters. They may not act like their masters because they may not believe that they are masters. They may not show forth in their mastery because they think that they are still trying to become a master. And accepting, feel it, feel it, feel it, accepting that you are a master is the first step of that interdependence that we, the masters who are assisting this ball to come into this evolutionary process, that we experience. We are not battlers or scrappers. We do not fight each other for positions of power, because, beloved masters, we are not in any way concerned about who's the ruler, who's the best. There are those that would want to fight a war. Jesus Christ is the only master. Anyone else that suggests that they are master are either a liar or a fool. And so, beloved masters, all of us who have made ascension, and all of you who are in the process, which is all that are on this ball, are equal. There are some who have amazing qualities of artistic ability. There are some that have absolutely brilliant mathematical skills. There are some who absolutely have such an eye for color, for line, design, in whatever place, whether it would be architecture or fashion design, or whether it would be painting a picture or taking one. And so, each master has gifts and talents. And yes, the illusion has taught you to deny your gifts and talents. I don't know what my gifts and talents are. Tell me what my gifts and talents are. Now, we could tell you. But it is, beloved masters, that if you don't believe it before we tell you, then it isn't really going to totally strengthen your confidence to just say, Saint Germain told me that I'm good at this. Because that still, if you're paying attention, sounds like you don't believe it. Saint Germain told me I'm good at this. So if he said I'm good at this, I must be good at it. But I still don't see it. I still don't feel it. I still don't recognize it. I still don't own it. And I'm certainly not living it. And so our telling you that you are good, that you are great, that you are masters, that you are competent, that you are capable, that you are a part of the blending of the whole. But it is absolutely necessary, dearly beloved masters, that you feel it, that you understand, not through your finite mind or your intellectual brain, but through a heartfelt, soulful recognition within yourself. I am one with all. Therefore, I could never not belong. God has never not loved you. No matter what you've been taught by brilliant minds that have come up with cunning control games to make you feel invalid. It is, beloved masters, it is time to feel God about yourself. Masters are not independent. I can do it all by myself. Of course you can. No one's going to argue with you. You can do it all by yourself, up to a point. And then you come to a point where you cannot do it all by yourself. You can hang wallpaper by yourself, but it's certainly easier if you have someone to hold it up while you're rolling it onto the wall, because you get a finer finish. You can do so many things by yourself. But is it that much fun? Or do you feel lonely? Is it that you feel really fulfilled by doing it all by yourself? Or is it afraid that you would be if you lost control by acknowledging that someone else might be helpful in your life? Masters are not victims. There are a lot of people on this ball who have decided that they are a victim of their ego, a victim of the society, a victim of hard times, a victim of bad choices. Victims. But it's not their fault because they're a victim. And it is, beloved masters, mastery moves you away from the requirement to find fault. Illusion, separation, is always stopping in the middle of a process to figure out who did it wrong, whose fault it is. Who are we going to blame this time? After all, I didn't do it. Listen to the heads of large corporations. Listen to the banking establishment. Listen to people who have chosen to be in positions of authority, but only if it prospered them, not when the spotlight shined on where they might be somewhat inadequate, where they would have been better served if they had been interdependent. The need to be right melts away in interdependence. And interdependence calls you, beloved masters, to feel within yourself, I am well. Feel it. I am well. experience it. Therefore, as I would ask for assistance, I am not lowering myself in any way by asking for assistance. As I am offering assistance, I am not elevating myself in any way by offering assistance, because interdependence does not require better than, worse than. And I talk about this all of the time in many different contexts. But it isn't something for you to think about. It is something for you to get in touch with in yourself. Feel it. Allow it. Embrace it. And live that way. And running to your logical, practical mind for a consultation is just moving your energy back into separation again. Because the logical, practical mind offers advice, solution orientation, based on us against them. The logical, practical mind reminds you of how to get the upper hand, how to take control, how to outsmart the enemy, the competition. But as you really allow yourself to feel interdependent, you will begin to recognize that there is no enemy. Each one is a part of you, as you are a part of them. There's a lot of acting out over wounds in this time, as wounds that have been overlooked, that have been repressed, that have been judged so inappropriate that unless it just ended your life, you don't even speak of it, think of it. You don't even allow that it exists. And all of those wounds of judgment are coming to the fore. They are rising to the surface. They cannot be hidden. They cannot be ignored. They absolutely must be embraced, integrated, forgiven, starting with you first. Because the whole process of interdependence starts with your acknowledgement. Feel it. Really feel it. I am a master. And very often one of the first things that the ego shouts is, if you dare to acknowledge your mastery, they, that nameless, faceless they, which is part of you, they are going to make you so responsible for everything. And a part of the interdependence of mastery is, in the name of love, being very clear. This is my responsibility. And that is not. And it comes from feeling, not an intellectual decision. It isn't based on law, not man's law. It's based on God's law. And God's law is compassionate objectivity. Being so clear within yourself. What is yours? You can own everything. And then you feel into it, and you get a very clear sense, not an idea even, but a very clear sense of what is your responsibility and what is not. As you are interdependent with others, you allow them their responsibilities. For the game of separation has said, you must be responsible for everything and everyone. This is a planet of wounded healers who are all attempting to heal all the other healers first. And yet the Master Book very clearly states, first, physician, heal thyself. And the words over the temple of Delphi's gate, know thyself. Simple truth. It isn't about you making them be anything. It isn't about you deciding how they must live their life. The parental order is passing with the game of illusion. Am I my brothers, sisters, children's, parents' keeper? And in the understanding of interdependence, the answer is no. As you keep your counsel with yourself, and this is not about separation, this isn't about standing alone, it's not about isolation, and it's certainly not, beloved masters, about avoidance. But as you are clear with yourself in each situation, feel it. It is not about running to your ego. What should I do? Because the order of doing is dying. If you consider being involved with other people, and in any manner you find it repugnant, then it is to sit with that feeling, that judgment, and get very clear within yourself what is your issue. I don't like what they're doing. That is an unacceptable judgment. What is your issue? What is your complaint? What is your desire to withdraw? Avoidance, dearly beloved masters, simply holds that which you desire to get away from to you. It's like a magnet. The more you want to avoid someone or something that you don't like, amazingly, the more you bump into it. When you can simply love them because you are learning to love yourself. You don't start by trying to love them first. You began the process of interdependence by loving yourself. And loving yourself is not thinking at yourself. And loving yourself isn't what you do. Well, I go to the mall and I take a bubble bath and I buy myself anything I want. Beloved masters, that may or may not be love. If going to the mall drains your wallet, then it's a similar addiction to a gambler. I go to the mall every day and I buy anything I see I want. My credit cards are maxed out. I'm not making enough to live on, but I go to the mall every day. And you could change the frame, and the gambler says, I go to the casino, I go to the bingo parlor every day because I love to gamble. And the alcoholic says, I go to the bar every day because I love to drink. But then there is that part of you, that God-given, masterful part of you that does not feel good about you abusing yourself. And it isn't about grabbing yourself up and making judgments on your actions and abusing yourself again. It is about moving into love and beginning to fill those empty places, to fill that hollow feeling, to heal the wound so that whether it's going to the mall or a casino or a bar, whether the addiction is relationship or food or drugs, it is, beloved masters, those are all aspects of either dependence, dependent on the addiction, dependent on the relationship, dependent on something outside of you, rather than knowing yourself so well in love that you can allow interdependence, an energetic involvement that allows you to allow others to fill the places that perhaps you could, but perhaps it isn't convenient. Perhaps it isn't, as the world says, your thing. Perhaps you just, at this particular juncture of your life, don't have time. So interdependence allows you to ask, and as the Master Book says, ask and it shall be given. And that is a divine law. Ask and it shall be given. Can you accept it? Could you bear it if you asked and the person that you asked said, certainly, how can I help you?